Hello everyone, and welcome to my solo RPG journal, where today we're doing something a little bit different. Today, instead of continuing Gabriel's journey, we are going to look at how alchemy works. Because if Gabriel's going to set up shop as an alchemist, we need to know what kind of game he's actually playing. Now, the problem with the rules as written is that they are written for an adventuring party going out into a dungeon, doing things, killing monsters, finding traps, getting gold, going back to town. And that's sort of the core game loop. Potions and other items are meant to be used as a resource in that setting. So they've got rules there so that you can go. I'm an alchemist. I'm creating my own potions, but they're written so that it's not easy to make a lot of them. Because if I can make 20 healing potions in a week, take a week between trips, maybe even 10 in a day, then I don't really have a hit point problem. It's not. It makes it a lot easier to get through the dungeons and makes it a lot less challenging if I've got a huge amount of access to all of these different resources. So the game is not really written to support what I'm trying to do, which is play a game where someone is making a living making potions for people. Unless I wanted to have a specialist shop that was making one potion a month kind of thing. I'm sure it wouldn't be quite that bad, but that's how the rules are written. So I've gone and done a little bit of research, and today what we're going to do is we're going to go and write our own homebrew. So to begin with, starting with stuff other people have done, found something that Dael Kingsmill has done for 5th Ed. 5th Ed's a little bit different, but what she's done is actually going to be a good starting point. So if you don't know who Dael Kingsmill is, I recommend you check her out. She has a YouTube channel called Monarch's Factory, where she talks about D&D stuff and DMing stuff and story stuff and other stuff. Mainly those things, or at least that's what I've been watching on her channel. It's quite good if you want to homebrew stuff and you think that some of the rules are a little bit silly or not covered at all in the thing. Like she does a pretty good video on Thieves' Cant, which is a line in the book somewhere. So she's created a system for her own use, finding ingredients for potions and brewing them inside 5th Ed, which is actually really cool because I've got this big table of stuff that you can find, plants that you can find in different environments. And what they do. Is it a poison? Does it have healing properties? So that's a really good starting point. There's also on the D&D wiki some different things that you can go for, some different alchemical items that people can make. Fertilizer is actually kind of cool for what we've got, and there's some other things in here that we might look at, as well as the standard things that are in the player's handbook. Just to introduce you to what I've actually got open on my screen. On the left we have my usual game, where we can see what we've been doing. Some information about my goals, the characters, and the world. That's what you usually see on screen. I've also got my rules document. So you can see I've changed the economy. So instead of going from using a base 10 system, I'm using a base 6 system. I'm doing that because it makes a little bit more sense. The fact that we count in tens is actually reasonably foreign. It's a learnt thing. Whereas if you were to look at 5 pebbles or 6 pebbles, you can actually fairly commonly immediately identify, oh, that's 6, or numbers less than 6. You see a group of things, you can immediately go, that's 6 things, that's 5 things, that's 3 things. When it's something like 7, it's a lot more common for people to go, oh, I don't know what that is. I can see 3 things and 4 things, so that's 4 plus 3 is 7. So what I've done is I've gone and decided that all of the currencies go up in lots of 6. So 6 small copper becomes 6 large copper. 6 large copper becomes 1 silver. 6 small silver becomes 1 large silver, and so on. Until we get to gold, which I've decided that gold is double the amount, honestly, just because. It makes it a little bit harder because it means that I have to translate all of the prices from the materials on the thing on the web into that instead of 10 copper as a silver, 10 silver as a gold. I was going to have to do that anyway because, as I was mentioning before, the economy is written for this adventurer that goes out into a dungeon, gets treasure hoard off a after killing the dragon, comes back and only gets to buy a couple of magic items, because otherwise they'd get hugely overpowered with all the magic items that they can get. Whereas what we're looking for is something where probably there's a little bit more magic in the world, and there's a lot more access to some of these things, like a potion costing 50 gold pieces when a peasant makes a couple of copper a day. Well, how am I going to be selling potions? There's a few other things in here. You can see I've decided to change how experience works. Instead of using numbers, I've just got a clock. There are 12 places in a clock. Yeah, there are 12 ticks in a clock. When the clock goes up, we get a new level. I've also done away with the standard magic and using the Unearthed Arcana spell point system. Again, it's available here on the D&D wiki if you want to have a look at it. So what we need to do is we need to look at how alchemy works. So we have two key things in D&D 3.5. First is the brew potion feat, which you need to be able to brew potions, which sets out how brewing potions works. You set the caster level, which will be something between 1 and 3 for most spells. Oh, no. Any third level, you can create a potion from any third level or lower spell that targets one or more creatures. Brewing a potion takes 1 day. When you create a potion, you set the caster level, which must be sufficient to cast the spell in question and no higher than your own level. So first of all, if I can only brew 1 potion a day, then that means that I'm only able to take a couple of extra potions in on my next trip in the thing. So that makes sense in the standard D&D meta, but that doesn't make sense for my game where I'm trying to create multiple potions in a day in order to sell them. Potion costs the base price of the potion is the spell level plus the caster level times the caster level times 50. So if it's a level 3 spell, then the caster level has to be level 5, I think. Is it level 5 that you get third level spells? So 15 times 50 gold. What is that? 500, 750 gold, is that it? To brew a potion, you must spend 1/25th of its base price, which I do need a calculator to check. 30 gold, okay. 1/25th of its base. Oh, no. To brew a potion, you must spend 1/25th of its base price in XP and use up raw materials costing 1/2 of this base price. So, if you've never played 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons before, magical things that you are creating cost experience. Which is cool because in some, not so much for consumables like potions, but if you're making permanent magical effects, you can make yourself more powerful permanently at the cost of you leveling quite as quickly. But for a potion, yeah, spending 30 gold pieces to create a potion, that's a 30 XP to create a potion when you're at a low level, that's quite a bit. But you also need to use up half the raw materials of the base price. That's kind of reasonable, except that the price is so prohibitively expensive. 750 gold pieces. You're lucky to earn a silver a day in a skilled job. You may earn a couple of silver a day in a skilled job. So magic is prohibitively expensive. So we're going to have to change how that works. Just in its cost alone. Now, interestingly, there's no check to create a potion. However, if you're wanting to make an alchemy check, every item has a DC that you have to hit. When you create an item, you take the item's cost in silver pieces and then make an appropriate craft check for 1 week of work. If the check succeeds, you multiply the check result by the DC. If the result times the DC equals the price of the item in silver pieces, you have completed the item. So that makes alchemy. So if I wanted to make Alchemist's Fire instead of a healing potion would take me a day. Alchemist's Fire will take me a week. And I've got to roll 20. I've got to roll a DC of 20. And I roll an alchemy check hitting a DC of 20. And then the result has to, not sure how much it costs. Alchemist's Fire Flask, 200. Okay, so 20, if I roll a 20 against a DC of 20, that's 400, so it would only take a week. However, if you want to do it in a day, you do the same check in it, but for it in copper pieces. So that's a cost of 20 gold, so 2,000 copper. So if I roll a 20 with a DC of 20, 200, I still have to make that check 5 days in a row. So that's prohibitively expensive. I do think, however, that changing the prices will actually fix this. So if I take all of our prices and make it so that thing costs silver, so they're still expensive, but not prohibitively so, small silver instead of gold, and potentially scale them down so that instead of a 3rd level spell costing 750 gold pieces, it costs maybe 50 to 100 gold, 50 to 100 small silver pieces. That could work. So what we'll do is we will straight up take these rules. So I will use those as written. I'll just change the thing, and then I'll keep the failure conditions as well. So if I use this and I just change the costs of our different equipment, so that acid, for instance, doesn't cost 10 gold pieces, acid costs 1 silver piece. Alchemist's Fire costs 2 small silver pieces. Antitoxin costs 5 small silver pieces. An ever-burning torch, probably a little bit more expensive. We're probably happy to say 10 large silver pieces. A Tanglefoot bag, if I remember correctly, is... Okay, no, that's a little bit... Cool, so that gives us a working system for... That gives us a working system for how alchemy works. So we'll change it so that it's a day for a week and an hour instead of a day. If the check is made in copper in large instead, then the amount of time spent is a day. So the other cool thing that we've got is I made a map. Here's Flyer Ridge, front and center. Here's the road that Gabriel entered the city on, coming through a forest, which gives us somewhere to search if we ever start looking for the caravan that went missing. Here's the old city of Kolk that's ruined, and here's Dusty Watch, the old keep that has gone evil. So we've got a little bit going on. Everything gets a bit drier as we get closer to the source of evil that is unnaturally touching the lands, I guess. We've got a mountain there. We've got some mountains off in the distance if we care. We're not going to go past that. I was imagining that to be some kind of cliff. We've got a forest, we've got plains, and we've got farms. So what we can do is when we go into different places, we can use a table like this to find various things in the grasslands. I'll have to use this as a starting point. We'll have to include other things in here as we want to do more than just healing and poisoning people. But it does give us a really good start for ideas as to what kind of things we can create. The next step for this will be to identify components that are being used in spells. Next video, we'll be back to Gabriel's journey, and we will be looking at what kinds of quests are available in the Adventuring Guild that he can make a little bit of money off, so that he doesn't run out. I've already mentioned that a caravan went missing, so we might find him looking into that, but not too sure yet. Check us out next video. Like I said before, check out Dael Kingsmill at Monarch Factory YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.